How do you walk big ass lines? Check it out on this episode with Pablo Signore.
Hi, I'm Jerry Misiuski. Come from Sunny Davis, California, and I'm gonna teach you how to rig a 300-meter highline.
Okay, really? What's your name and what's your PR?
So my name is 1662 meters, and my PR is Pablo Signore.
So Pablo, I want to know, how do you walk such a long line? How do you keep your head clear? How do you not get sore or tired or mentally screwed? Like, how do you not get send anxiety 300 meters from the end? So what was it like?
Because on those long lines, that's the hard part, the mind. And I would say, to answer that, for me, it's to get to a state of extreme consciousness. Consciousness. Yeah, like not a flow. Like when I walk a long line blind, for example, I get to a kind of flow. But here on the mile, I was more like extreme consciousness, and that I really take I managed to take every single bad thought, like sending pressure and stuff, and turn it into good energy and turn it into motivation. You know, like instead of, oh, I'm shaking, I want to send. I'm like, I want to send, so don't shake, you know? That's it.
That works better for you than me. The more I think about not shaking,
the more you shake.
the
Yeah,
more I shake.
that happens sometimes. But yeah, and I would say just be patient. Enjoy every single step, be patient, that's the thing.
Do your arms get tired? Do your legs get tired?
Yeah, and on the 300 first meters, I was fighting so hard, and I was like almost crying, like there was no way I could send it, fighting that hard, because I had like one leg fight, exposure. It took a long time to work those first 300 meters, and then it got easier, and you got to kind of a rhythm where your body just like, you get tired, but you don't think about it, and actually it's a pretty cool effort, you know. It's not strong, and because the main is to be calm, to remain calm all the time, and if you are calm, your muscles get tired for sure, but I think we are not yet to the point where you cannot hold your arms anymore. So yeah, but yeah, still at the end I thought my arms were okay, and 5 minutes after sending the line, I couldn't lift my right arm anymore. So yeah.
So Pablo, did you get send anxiety when you got near the end?
I kind of had send anxiety near the end, but I would say I had more at the beginning, because I'm not trying to lie to myself, like, yeah, don't think about sending and stuff. Like the first step I did, I was like, I'm gonna send it.
Yeah.
So I had send anxiety, but I would say the body takes a few hundred meters to warm up, and the mind as well. So after a few hundred meters, after like 30 minutes of walking, your mind gets used to the stuff, and your mind warms up as well. And there you manage to, as I said, to turn this send anxiety to positive thoughts. So yeah, at the end, I was so glad that I could control myself the way that I didn't allow myself to have that send anxiety till like 10 meters to the end, where like really, at one moment I was like, okay, now I got that, I can be happy. And so yeah, I had it, but I really managed to control it very good.
So 10 meters from the end.
Yeah, approximately.
You got all send anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. How do you say, you know, when you've got
Goosebumps.
goosebumps?
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, all your hair sticks.
Yeah. Like 10 meters from the end, I allowed myself to go out of the mindset I was in and to realize and to accept I was gonna do it because I knew it was done. And at that exact moment, all my body had goosebumps. And there in the video, you see I'm telling, I love you guys, 10 meters from the end, and they're like, hey man, keep going. You know, like yeah. And at that exact moment, I told myself, okay, now you can tell it in your head that now you can enjoy that sand anxiety, because it's a great pressure, you know. It kind of fucks you up while you're walking and stuff to do the whole performance, but it's a great feeling, you know. So it's great to also allow yourself to do that.
So what will it take for you to be able to do the 2 kilometer line when it is eventually rigged?
I would say 2 kilometers would, if you've got good conditions, wouldn't be much harder than the mile, as it's not like when you do back and forth on a line, you know, when you have the beginning and end part multiple times. Here you have the beginning part and the end only twice. And so the middle part, if you've got good condition, if it's well set up, the middle part you can just cruise the shit out of it and run and go for it. And yeah, I think like maybe 3K will be really hard because you'll get really tired during this part. But 2K, like 400 meters more of cruising, should be okay, physically at least.
So highlining, I'd say, is pretty much more mental than physical. But on those lines, do you think it's the same, or do you think it becomes much more about the physical than the mental?
No, I think it's still mental, like 80% mental, something like that. Yeah, because, well, yes and no. I would say it's also technical, because those lines, you really don't decide the conditions. The wind, mostly the wind. Like if you've got bad wind, big gusts that pushes you meters to the side and stuff, this you can't control. And this, the only thing that will not let this influence your mindset that you are trying hard to stay on, would be to be really good technically, just to compensate, you know. If it takes you too much energy and too much focus on those technical aspects, you don't have, for me at least, I don't have enough of mind strength to stay focused on my conscientious mindset. So yeah, I would say it's
second nature.
Yeah, exactly. It's a huge mental challenge, but also very, very technical, because the longer the line is, the more you are subject to conditions. And yeah, we saw that, like when we rigged the mile, like basically the first tries we did, we didn't send because of bad conditions. That's it. So if you are strong enough to go against those conditions, that's it.
So you guys had pre-sewn the backup to the main, and then found out the distance was wrong, so then the backup was tight. Did that make it a lot harder, considering that your backup wasn't like primo for walking conditions?
Yeah, so we had the backup sewn to the main every 100 meters, and as the webbing was brand new, we didn't expect well the length, the length we had to put more on the backup, so the backup was like completely tight. So as we all know, a tight backup is harder. There is one thing on those big lines, is that it's so long that even tight backup, I would say it's doable, but the only difference is that with a tight backup, conditions and wind, everything's more extreme with a tight backup. I mean, if you've got really good conditions, I mean, Lucas showed it. He didn't send, but he walked a big part of it. I mean, 3D showed it when he kind of walked his mile as well. Like, it's doable to walk it with a tight backup, as it's really long, and anyway, the the lens catches the waves, you know. But if you've got bad conditions, that's even worse. That's what I mean. So that we decided to, because the main was really to send it, and at that point, at those lenses, really, I'm not anymore in. I don't have any need to prove anything that I'm able to. That yeah, I did tied back up and stuff. So the main was to make it the easier to work as possible. So Guillaume did the whole lens high sliding and taped a 4mm tagline all the way long, a little looser than the backup, and it was very efficient.
And it really helped.
Yeah, I would say same. You know, Anthony had bad condition when he did his try, and he fell because of the conditions. You know, so still, it helped. It didn't make it like super easy, but yeah, it helped definitely.
Sendy as fuck or fuck sending?
Sandy as fuck, man.
Or do you need to fuck sending to be sendy as fuck?
No. That's not how I do it. I'm not lying to myself anymore. Now, when I step on a line that I want to send, I'm like, first try, I'm like, okay, unsighted. You know, I'm really like, fuck sending, it's cool for sure. And like, it's really cool not to care if you fail. That's the thing. But for me, when I do my first steps, I think about sending because that's what drives me towards success.
But would you agree that sometimes you have to give up that want for it to be sendy as fuck? So a lot of times I think of fuck sending as like you have to give up that control of attachment to the send to send it.
Yeah. I mean, yes and no, because that's what I meant. Like, I also had some lines where, you know, you don't think about sending anymore and boom, it works. Like, we all know that. But still, I think that it works better at the end. That it works better not to lie to yourself anyway. You know, just learn to deal with the sendy as fuck in a positive way.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so here's two things. Instead of fuck sending, deal with the sendy as fuck in a positive way, and also you should not be affected by failure. That's the thing.
Yes.
Still, you know, like you should really have the want, like really want to send a line. But if you fail, no big deal. I think that's the thing. If you don't care about failing, you know, if you just learn from it, but you still want to send so bad, I think that's how it works.
Okay, Pablo, I see that you blindfold walk a lot, or often now. When we were on the Goat Ridge, you were blindfold walking. You talk about it a lot. What do you like about blindfold walking?
About the blindfold walking, I would say what really drives me into long blindfold highline walk is that lately I've had trouble to get into the flow highlining, you know, like that. I don't know how to describe it, but you know the flow. Yeah, and like that's not something, as I said, I need to send, but that's a really cool feeling. While blindfold walking, holy crap, you get to that flow real fast. So that's a very good thing. And I really love to train my passions. And man, blindfold walking, it really puts you in front of your ego. And like, boom, you need to just let go and just be patient and really enjoy, you know? Because you never know where you are. Every single step, you need to do it the same way you did the first one. And even more, that's even more effective than on long highline when you see, because when you see, you analyze the situation. Well, when you don't see, man, you need to just control yourself even more and just send away this sending pressure, like even more than when you see. You need to just be in the right moment every single steps, every single seconds, because there is one thing is that even if you walk slow, if you keep walking and if you enjoy, you'll always get to the end. That's something.
Do you ever close your eyes when you're waterlining? Because that's the hardest part of waterlining is looking at everything.
Not really. I like the challenge. Yeah.
I feel
Actually,
like blindfold walking would help me significantly with waterlining.
Hold on.
yeah, definitely.
Film
New
me.
waterline world record. He was blindfolded. Yeah. So walking a mile-long highline is really, really hard. Therefore, you shouldn't highline.
Allez, champion!